This one is another example of the interventional study, the pre-post study. So most it is sometimes mistakenly with randomized clinical trial, but it is mostly employed using quasi-experimental. So quasi-experimental may be prospective or retrospective. Why is it called quasi and why is not the same with RCT? So it can be randomized or non-randomized, but it is called quasi or false experimental because it does not have any control group. As you can see, it's the same group prospectively or retrospectively. It has the same group of people, but you will just going to take note the pre-intervention data and then the intervention data, then do the washout, and then you will now do the intervention. And you will now compare the pre and post data and the results. You will analyze the pre and post intervention data among the patients with their different backgrounds. Okay, so it has also a different purpose, the pre-post study. So the purpose of this is to evaluate the impact of a change by comparing outcomes before and after intervention is implemented. All right, so this is the pre and post study. Next is this is a randomized clinical trial, 2 by 2 factorial clinical trial. So 2 by 2, you will create a grid like this. And then the first grid here is treatment A, yes, no, treatment B, yes, no. So we will assign A plus B, then A, B, then this is how you will going to allocate the groups in the 2 by 2 factorial clinical trial. So sa treatment A, may makareceive, yes, so si group A and group B makareceive, tapos si group A, ito, hindi siya makareceive ng B, A lang. So you will just parang this grid is employed during allocation. Okay? Balikan natin yung ano. The grid that I have shown a while ago. After randomization, the grid is employed here. That is one example of the fine print that I have mentioned, no? In order to determine who receives what. So you call it 2 by 2 factorial clinical trial. Okay, the 2 by 2 factorial clinical trial, it's the simplest one. So naka-partner siya interventions A and B. So the participants are randomly allocated to one of the 4 combinations. So A alone, B alone, both A and B, or neither A nor B. So this design class, this grid allows comparison of each of the intervention with the control group. Also, it can also help us compare 2 interventions with each other. And then you will be able to investigate since we can partner both A and B. No, we can partner A and B, as you can see here, this one. We can partner that. So we can investigate possibility of interactions, right? Drug-drug interactions between A and B. Those are the advantages of, or the uses rather, of this 2 by 2 factorial design in clinical in randomized controlled trials. All right, so there is one study for rotavirus somewhere here in Asia. I cannot remember the the specific area, but there is a study about rotavirus comparing the efficacy or the use of zinc supplement and probiotic. So if you are a hospital pharmacist or you are employed, there are certain time in hospital admission that acute gastroenteritis among children or age, again, acute gastroenteritis among children are high in specific season, especially during summer where we mostly go to the beach, we play the sand, the playground, and we have different activities like campings. So rotavirus commonly cause this diarrhea, nasty diarrhea among children, and causes gastroenteritis or viral gastroenteritis. Commonly, it is self-limiting kasi, so we just employ the use or managed by zinc supplements and Yakult or some other probiotics. So there's a study that compared if zinc is given alone, if a probiotic is given alone, or if they're given together, or if nothing will be given, since we all know that viral infections are self-limiting. Okay, so I I just I just found out that the combination, no, is very helpful as a mom, no, to know that zinc in combination with a probiotic gives the best or significant improvement during gastroenteritis, viral gastroenteritis among pediatrics. So if you are a mom, if you also have mga nephews and nieces, there are common, no, for pediatrics rotavirus, severe diarrhea, moderate to severe diarrhea, with very foul odor smelling na mga poops. You can give zinc with probiotics. Okay? So they use this factorial clinical trial. It says it favors this one instead of this, and no no management at all. Another one is in a crossover study. So it's very simple with this arm, right? It's very obvious that every arm receives the same intervention. From the word, it crosses over to other intervention. So arm A, arm B. The first phase, if you can, later you have an activity for data analytics. So this is divided into phase 1 and phase 2. The phase 1, in specific arm A, there is an intervention. The arm B will have the standard care. During the washout period, there is specific time where the drugs are being washed out, and then they will going to cross over, just like this one. So the arm B will now have the arm A, and arm A will now have the arm B. So that is the crossover study. What's the benefit of this one versus the 2x2 factorial design? In this one, we have to understand that this is done because as human beings, we have to eliminate differences among, for example, genetics, among different predispositions, among comorbidities. So crossover design is employed to make sure that these differences are taken out of the picture by allowing all of the participants or all of the enrollees will be able to receive both of the treatments. Okay? Allowing all of them receive both treatments, but of course in different time. The phase 1 and the phase 2. All other conditions in phase 1 and phase 2 should be the same, but there's just a swap in the population. Okay? I hope that is noted by everyone. That's the crossover study. And then there is what we call cluster randomized. It is somewhat related to the first one a while ago, this one is somewhat related to this, but the term here is randomized. Okay, there's the randomization. So the boxes here can be examples of community, city, schools, but this time they are randomized. Okay, so this is called cluster randomized clinical trial. So what's the advantage of this one, the cluster randomized? Okay, we all know, class, that as human beings, we have adaptation process, di ba? We have capability of adapting. When we live together with a person longer than the usual, or we have grown together, so we have that adaptability. We adapted some norms, we have adapted some nuisance, some patterns, some habits, and that is what this is all about. Okay, so for example, in different ethnic group, different ethnicity, so we have, for example, here in Canada, we have the first people, tawag doon, first people ba yun? Or first tribe? I'm not really sure, but there's their ethnic group, no? And there's the Caucasians, there are the Indians, and there are the Southeast Asians. So we have different genetic makeup, we have different habits, traditions. That can be a great factor in our intervention and our data. Specifically, this is employed for non-pharmacological research designs, or non-pharmacological interventions ng mga clinical trials. Why? Because most non-pharmacological alternatives that are being studied are behavioral. So behaviors, they are adapted, they are grounded to our exposures every day with the people that we live with the people we mingle with. Okay, so this is the specific good for that specific scenario. Right? So yeah, though medyo mabilis, but yun siya ang clinical trials.